Hello and welcome back to TechnoSurgeon YouTube channel. So Qualcomm has announced their Snapdragon X2 Elite with up to 18 CPU cores and Adreno X2 graphics, and this is a beast. Though it is not based on x86 architecture, it is just an ARM, but these processors are absolute beast. As you can see, they had launched two variants, X2 Elite Extreme and X2 Elite, and it is pretty interesting. As you can see on the screen here, it comes with 18 cores, 12 prime cores and 6 performance core, and they are configured a pretty bit differently because there's like two of the cores which goes as high as 5 gigahertz, and these are like more powerful cores, and the others are 4.4 gigahertz, while that of 6 performance core is 3.6 gigahertz. Don't know, but dual core boost is 5 gigahertz. It's third generation of their Qualcomm's Aura and CPU architecture, 3 nanometer process, 53 megabytes of L3 total cache, and there's like advanced Qualcomm Adreno GPU, DirectX 12.2 support, custom design for Windows PC, Qualcomm 1.4, OpenCL 3.0, enhanced GMM and ray tracing improvements, which is to be expected, and there it is coming with hexagon NPU 80 tops. Interesting, but the thing is, it's over here. As you can see, there's three variants: X2, X2 Elite, X2 Elite, and X2 Extreme. Don't know why they did it. Like X2 Elite has two parts, but the only different thing factor is their core count, total cores, core count, and this number, which is Xe2E 8000 and Xe2E 8800. Don't know why they did it, but on the low end segment, as you can see, it comes with 6 core count. Total is 12, 6 prime cores, 4.44 gigahertz, boost frequency is 4.7 gigahertz on single and 4.4 on dual core, 6 performance cores, 3.4 gigahertz, 34 megabytes of cache. Part number is here. Part number is obviously X285, 1.70 gigahertz max frequency for Adreno GPU. NPU is 80 tops, LPDDR5X memory support, 152 gigabits per second bandwidth, X2 Elite with 18 cores, 12 core counts in prime cores, 4 GHz, 4.7 GHz on single as well as dual core boost, 6 GHz, 3.4 GHz multi-core frequency, 53 megabytes of cache. The Adreno is 170 GHz frequency, 80 tops, LPDDR5X, and 152 gigabits per second bandwidth. The X2 Elite Extreme is part number is this: 18 cores, 12 performance cores, prime cores, 4.4 gigahertz all core frequency, 5 gigahertz boost on single core as well as on dual core, 6 3.6 gigahertz, 6 performance core, 3.6 gigahertz boost clock, same cache, 1.85 gigahertz on Adreno GPU, 80 tops LPDDR5X, but the bandwidth is 228 gigabits, which is nice. And as you can see, it comes with Wi-Fi 7, 5G, 5.4 Bluetooth, and yeah, it's extra extreme. It is what it is. Also, and during the event, they showed this. A Qualcomm shows prototype of mini PCs with air jet cooler, developed for super thin fanless mini PCs with Snapdragon X2 and yeah, it looks literally insane. As you can see on the screen here, it's just like a disc. You can see in his hand, and over here it's like a disc, and it's a full on PC. You can attach wire and you can run it. Basically, you can do not gaming per se, but it is powerful. You can do like content viewing and stuff like that. We still don't know many things about it, but yeah. Next up, in a bad move, Intel tries to convince gamers that Arrow Lake desktop CPUs have better value than AMD's Ryzen 9000 in gaming performance per dollar Core Ultra 7265K compared to 9800X 3D. As you can see on the screen here, they had compared their processors with the competitor comparisons, and overall they just said we had more performance. As you can see on the screen here, it is 359 bucks for Ryzen 7 9700X, while that of 265K at 300 bucks you will get 15% more performance, which is not true because Ryzen 7 9700X retails right now for $280 relatively, regardless of sales. So yeah, it is a bad move, and as you can see, it is on par with content creation, but it is not always true because in some performance, 9950X 3D beats Intel in gaming. In content creation, every application favors different CPU architectures. So this is just like pretty bad move. It says like Core Ultra 9 285K can beat Ryzen 9 9900X, which is true, but price to performance is not there in encoding also. Yeah, don't know what PR team was doing for Intel, but yeah, it looks pretty bad. And MSRP is subjective as it changes, but yeah, if they are discussing the launch pricing, then the launch pricing for Intel's processor is not $300. It is much higher. It was much higher, the launch pricing. So yeah, the comparison is pretty bad. Next up, DirectX speed ups game load times by upwards of 10% with new advanced shader compiling feature debuted with Xbox PC app on ROG LIX and LIX more devices later. What it does is like it down it downloads the game from like shader compiler to an SODB to a thing called PSDB, a public server database, and then loads the game, and this just like makes it pretty fast. As you can see, Microsoft has announced a new feature that will reduce initial load times called Advanced Shader Delivery. According to the DirectX developer blog, this will move shader compiler from the device to the cloud, allowing you to download the necessary file directly to your device for caching. Aside from allowing you to get into the game much faster, with the company reporting an observed 85% reduction in loading times for Avowed, it also claims to save your battery and processing power as Microsoft handles the heavy lifting on its end. What happens is shader compilation is traditionally done on devices. It is must be compiled specifically for your game's CPU, GPU, and driver version. This means that shader compilation performance will vary based on your software, hardware, and with nearly infinite number of variations out there, it was next to impossible for developers to pre-compile shaders for every device. However, Microsoft changed this by creating a new standard format called State Object Database (SODB), and the company collects the shader data from games and packages into SODB. The DirectX developers then worked with GPU manufacturers to separate their shader compiler from the graphics driver, allowing the team to merge it with SODB and create a pre-compiled shader database. When you download a game through the Xbox app, it will detect your system configuration and include the proper PSDB for your system. So when you launch a game for the first time, it will detect the preloaded shaders and skip the lengthy compilation process, which is an interesting thing, but it is only available for Xbox PC app and not for everyone else. And yeah, it is the blog post where you see it goes over the detail regarding it, and Microsoft is working on it, and this will reduce like game engine and shader shuttering per se. Also, Agility SDK 16 1.618 shader advanced shader delivery and 1.1716 out of preview, so it is readily available outside. This release introduces three important pieces related to the advanced shader delivery: state object database, authoring and collection tool, offline compilers for our hardware partners, and game installer registry APS. So it is already out of beta, and you can see AMD compiler plugin support is available through AMD Adrenaline Software Agility SDK preview 2510 on September 25. Intel is working on it. Intel is already on board. Qualcomm is also working on it, and NVIDIA is working on it by collaborating with Microsoft to implement support for advanced shader delivery. NVIDIA is equipped gamer developers with tools to improve load times and deliver a shutter-free experience for gamer, but it is still in beta. Nvidia, Intel, and Qualcomm has not come out with their driver version, but it will be coming out. But as you can see, AMD Software Agility SDK Developer Preview Edition 25.10.07.10 Advanced Shader Delivery. It's there. AMD has just launched it. It is available. If you want, you can update your drivers, and you will get it. But yeah, that's it from me today. What do you think about the news? Sound of your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll meet you in the next one. Peace out.